The second world update for Microsoft Flight Simulator now has a release date and is set for Tuesday, the 24th of November. This will be an update to the US, so let's take a look at why that is actually a good thing. Microsoft Flight Simulator has, without a doubt, the best representation of Earth ever put into a video game. It gets a lot of things right and has a ton of stunning areas. It's clear though that both Asobo and Microsoft want to keep improving upon this. The first world update reworked Japan almost entirely, providing updated cities, airports and terrain data. The second update for the world will be focusing in on the United States. Now, like many people, I was actually quite surprised to hear that the US was going to be getting the focus, simply due to the fact that the US is already in a very good condition. And there are plenty of other areas around the world that need a lot of work. Europe and Russia, as well as most of Asia, are great examples. However, that's not to say that the US doesn't need improving. So in this video, I'm taking a brief look at why it's actually a good thing that the United States are getting updated. Now, the update will include 50 new points of interest, which will cover various landmarks from right across the USA. Whilst Asobo haven't given a list of these landmarks, I want to look at a few from the sim right now that are in serious need of a makeover. I also want this video to act as a reference point between the before and after the US World Update, so that there's a clear method for everyone to easily compare some of the improvements the update will bring. So as you can see here, we just passed the Washington Monument, which of course is in the District of Columbia, and that right there is the White House. Both need reworking, especially the Washington Monument, which is actually a huge tower block. The White House itself is also not that good. Right here we're coming up to Mount Rushmore. Although the mountain itself is fairly accurate, at least in terms of its height map, I guess, there's clearly some very important features missing from here. Now, that's not to say that Mount Rushmore is going to be one of the landmarks that gets updated. It is to say, however, that it really is one of the landmarks that does need to be updated. Now, elsewhere, and this may be one that doesn't quite make it, as technically speaking, at least part of it is in Canada, but it's still in the United States, as it's also in New York. So this is Niagara Falls. And whilst it's nice to see that it is actually in the sim, and if you're flying over this at a few hundred feet, it probably doesn't look all that bad, it still really needs quite a bit of rework. How the Sims engine actually turns out to handle this though is anyone's guess, so it's really going to have to be a case of waiting and seeing. The final area that I want to take a look at is Yellowstone. Now, from what I understand, and I don't know this from personal experience, but from what other people have said, Yellowstone itself does need a huge amount of work, and this is mostly down to the terrain data. Although this particular area is quite good, simply due to the fact it's based on the satellite imagery. But overall, I think Yellowstone is definitely one of the areas which will benefit from new terrain height map data, assuming of course that Asobo actually implement this in that particular area. So that gives us a bit of a broad overview of why the US definitely needs a world update. Keep in mind that in addition to the new 50 points of interest, there will also be a load of new terrain data added. Further, there will be some new high-detailed handcrafted airports, which includes Atlanta, Friday Harbor, New York Stewart International and Dallas Fort Worth Airport. Further, there will also be a new bush trip which will be set in Alaska. The latest development update was posted yesterday to the official Flight Simulator website. It includes the usual roadmap, and in regards to the roadmap, next week's update should be far more interesting, as Asobo should be releasing a new roadmap which will cover the Sims development from December through to February, and I'm actually very keen to see all that because there should be some nice tidbits of information on there. There's also a new partnership video. This one is with the Experimental Aircraft Association. And finally, the development update ends with a very nice interview with the head of Microsoft Flight Simulator, Jörg Newman, who tells us a little bit about his background, as well as how his decision to reboot Microsoft Flight Simulator actually came about. It's a very good read, and I highly recommend checking it out. You can find a link in the video description. That then brings us to an end of this video. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time.